about that time. We're about to go into WrestleMania. 4 weeks away with rushed build-up and what seems to be maybe the most least anticipating WrestleMania. It's been whack cards. It's been whack build-up for WrestleMania since WrestleMania 32 back in 2016, but other than that, at least had like one big match that they were advertising. And some multi-man matches. There's barely any multi-man matches that were built up because the tag division is so trash. And the women's tag division is supposed to be kicking up. They're ripping off like Impact's way that they had a women's tag division years ago. That was just used for the beautiful people, but no one cares. So, what happened on SmackDown Live? Really, not that much of just trying to force matchups down our throat with very little build up. Some of these matches that are going to occur have been a few weeks into the making, or like 2 months in the making, not several months in the making. Not much build up. None of these feuds are personal. None of these feuds are intriguing. None of these feuds seem unique, or some of these feuds would actually have you going on somebody else's side. So we had Shane going to town and penting up his frustrations, going with his bullshit crap with The Miz, and wanting to beat the ever living shit out of him come WrestleMania. Why WrestleMania? Why couldn't you just beat his ass if he came to SmackDown? Then build up to WrestleMania. Just saying. This was an alright promo. It's good to see Shane as a heel. He seems really aggressive, obviously, after losing the tag titles twice. Obviously, there would be some pent up aggression on The Miz and trying to embarrass him at WrestleMania, so it was a decent opening. There's been good opening segments, but not that good wrestling. I'd rather have than just a decent match. Thanks WWE forgets that you have to put storylines in. You need storylines, or else these guys would just be fighting for no reason. And nobody wants that in a fight at all. There has to be something on the line. But Miz and Shane was a rushed feud. They had a rushed tag team just so you could have Miz and Shane fight, even though Shane's an authority figure and how the Miz, a former WWE champion, has not been pented up. Stuff like that could be a feud. But they don't want to push the shit like that, so they have to be a former tag team to somehow break up, get a feud, turn Shane heel. It's just rushed, and I don't like that. Next up was a tag team match implementing Aleister Black and Ricochet as a tag team, while having the Hardy Boys against the Bar, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Rusev. Now, I went over this in my Fastlane review if you didn't see it. It involved why in the hell Shinsuke and Rusev are feuding, even though these are two. These guys were actually have an interesting storyline that I didn't mind seeing. It involved Lana and her getting hurt in the last U.S. title match, and thought, oh god, they're gonna build this up come WrestleMania. It's not gonna be the best match, but I'm gonna be quite entertained. Thinking I like Rusev, and I want Nakamura to actually become a main face in the WWE. Thanks picking him up back in like 2017. I think he debuted in the main roster. That's one of the reasons why. In an 8-man tag that no one cared, there was a lot of rest holds. A lot of rest holds, a few uppercuts, a few good moves. How Sheamus and Cesaro, Nakamura didn't show up. He kept doing the same old shtick. I don't know why he's just wearing a shirt now. Is it because he's out of shape? Obviously, being on the road a lot obviously takes a toll on your body. Then the Usos come for no reason because their tag division is so trash. They're like street rappers. Tag team. They're more aggressive and they're more interesting. Obviously, trying to look up for who's going to be the next challenger for the tag team belts. Might be the Hardy Boys, the Bar, or Shinsuke and Rusev. So that was decent build up. The promo came out of nowhere and it was alright. The match itself was just for Ricochet and Aleister Black and Matt Hardy. That was literally it. Those are the only three people that you want to see. There was a few good aerial assaults and they were building up this 8-man tag thanks to what happened the previous week. So they had an 8-man tag. Then pretty pretty good promo involving AJ Styles and Randy Orton. How AJ Styles been getting this much buzz for 15 years and just now making it to the WWE. AJ and Randy Orton just summing up his career, comparing it to AJ Styles, how he came from the Indies to working around with Dixie Carter, that's Ring of Honor, shaking hand. No shit, that's Impact, and then shaking hands in the bingo halls. That's supposed to be Ring of Honor. Then competing all over the world, and Randy Orton did this when he was really young. So obviously, it looks like he is trying to proclaim himself the biggest star in the world. And obviously, this is a good match that they're trying to show, and AJ Styles just pointing up to the sign because obviously they don't have that many matches to build up come WrestleMania. And anything like a week before WrestleMania would be a waste and it would just be rushed. So I don't know how much build up they have for 3 weeks remaining of content until WrestleMania. Thanks WWE forgets how to build up shows, the build up big matches like Randy Orton and AJ Styles. I know I'm just gonna see an airborne RKO out of nowhere, so I'm just waiting. But this was an impressive promo. These guys obviously were shooting from the hip. How AJ Styles was obviously insulting the indie guys. I mean, Randy Orton was insulting the indie guys, and how it took him this long to finally make it. While AJ Styles is like, bloody, bloody, blah. Now your roster's full of indie talent. He's right about that, and how some of the moves are rip-offs, especially ripping off the click sign and Randy Orton. It was really funny because fucking AJ. I can't believe AJ Styles brought up that the RKO is just a rip-off diamond cutter. That's harsh. You don't want to be. You don't want to. Some people would like paying homage to somebody's finisher. Thinks everybody else does a cutter now on the indies and super kicks. Next up was Sonya Deville versus Asuka. This was alright. This wasn't really that good. Sonya Deville does nothing impactful. They're trying to build up this little breakup with because Sonya Deville costed Amanda Rose the women's title match back at Fastlane thanks to an apron slip. Same thing happened here, and it ended up with her getting kicked to the face near the rope, and then she gets the 3 count. There was nothing interesting. There's nothing interesting about Asuka. Unless she's with somebody that almost wrestles the exact same as her, it's not going to be that interesting of the match. With Sonya Deville just picking up this UFC style, but somehow she can't really dominate a match with it. Kind of disinteresting. I don't like it. Next up, really, before I just continue, I hate Asuka's. Asuka's a B-rated champion, especially when she's supposed to be the second women's champion. Nobody cares because Ronda Rousey's women's champion, and obviously you can't get anywhere bigger than that. Since Asuka's winning streak got taken out, there's really not that much to talk about for Asuka. Nothing scary about her. There's nothing content about her. There's nothing unique about her. She's just a Japanese lady that likes screaming and kicking the shit out of people while spouting Japanese. But really, that's it. I would like to like Asuka. I do, but I don't watch a lot of Japanese wrestling, and obviously I don't understand the character. It's just boring. This works for NXT. Thinks you get lineal matches, and the big matches come when they have to like take over at least certain main events on NXT. When they actually show the in-ring maneuver, now you're trying to bring Asuka into storylines, especially when the woman was barely that interesting. All she does is silly faces, wear masks, and spout Japanese. That's not how interesting it's going to be. Like, especially when you make Sonya Deville and Amanda Rose want to break up. With Asuka using some sleeper hold to win the match. I think it's also supposed to be the Kakina, but it's different. No, it's the Kakina. Next up is Becky Lynch, again, in a promo with Charlotte. There's been a lot of promos, several promos tonight. Not that much wrestling that I'm okay with, but you're supposed to be distributing the women's talent. Where the fuck is Naomi? Carmella? Where the fuck is everybody else here? And all it is Charlotte just talking to Becky Lynch about her main event women's match and how Ronda fucked them over. And how it's supposed to be Charlotte supposed to be carrying this women's division. And how Becky Lynch was hot for a few months. Bloody, bloody, bloody. She's been saying the same crap for the last few weeks. It was kind of cut and dry. And plus, I'm not that big fan of Becky Lynch since her little heel turn, and now she's over with the fans after turning heel back at SummerSlam. She only held the SmackDown Women's Championship for a few weeks, or it was like a month before losing it to Asuka. So this was kind of really boring ass feud. How they're trying to rush Becky Lynch to turn heel because Ronda Rousey isn't getting that over as a babyface. Thank God Ronda Rousey's a heel. And then we're just trying to put it neutral to the fact that none of these people really have that much interesting charisma except Charlotte and Ronda, while Becky Lynch is trying to feel like she deserves to be a babyface again, when it's obvious that she's more interesting as a heel. I don't mind the triple threat match, just the way these women think they're making a difference while these women are having terrible character issues. It's kind of cut and dry, and obviously they're saving up for all these three women to be together at Raw a few weeks before WrestleMania, so I'm not really content about seeing this women's match. Next up was involving a tag team match with the men that attended a Fatal 4-Way on Fastlane, then had a Fatal 4-Way on fucking SmackDown. So there was 2 U.S. title defenses for Samoa Joe, and they were all Fatal 4-Ways. But this time he gets pinned by Rey Mysterio, and it was alright because, like, I would like to see Rey Mysterio in the title match again. This was alright because this was just a tag team match. The hot tags were alright. Samoa Joe gets pinned, even though I thought he was just going to pin Mysterio and prove that he's dominant, but it was good to see Mysterio get a feel golden moment because he was, like, trading wins with Andrade, and it's like, what you going to do with these guys? So it's just heel versus babyface tag, and obviously they're trying to build up something come WrestleMania. And Samoa Joe, even if you like it or not, the guy's cool on the mic, and when he talks, you better listen. He's a scary ass guy, especially even though people just somehow make fun of him because he's fat, even though he's scary as fuck. What's wrong with you people? What kind of immature shit is that? All because he's big doesn't mean he's not intimidating. You guys take it like a bitch that one exists. Umaga didn't exist. The Big Show didn't exist. Mark Henry didn't exist. And most of those guys were world champions, so I don't know where the fuck you guys get this bullshit from. And all because he was from an indie fed doesn't mean he doesn't have potential to make it big here in WWE. He's interesting, the fans are behind him, and obviously they still have the same feelings as him as a monster like he did on Impact. So I don't want to hear any bullshit. This was a decent tag match. All these matches were just sideshow because all they were doing were promos to build up what's going on. That McMahon hates black people. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop because this was just basic bitch territory with this tag team match and how they were just trying to make Mustafa Ali the guy. They feel like he's a big threat. Thinks there was a backstage segment before involving Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston with Daniel Bryan in his office, but McMahon made it a tag team match for Roman and Daniel Bryan now against Kevin Owens and Mustafa Ali. I don't know what they're doing with Kevin Owens and Mustafa Ali. They should be making Owens heel right now. Mustafa and Owens were alright. They have decent chemistry. This was an tag match. Not much to just build Rowan as being a monster and the guy that's supposed to be on his side. Because guess what? Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan won. Off a chokeslam, then a running knee. I didn't want to bring up the other fact that the New Day came to interrupt in the tag match to get their payback on the bar and shit like that. So, there. If you think I missed something, I didn't care. Because I came out of nowhere. Next up was involving The segment involving Kofi Kingston and McMahon, even though the New Day was just speaking for this guy. And I think, like, for Kofi Kingston, his real gripe was just leaving the New Day. I thought McMahon was going to say that, but he had to face a gauntlet match the next week, even though he had to face a handicap match. McMahon's obviously trying to make Kofi trying to feel like a big threat, trying to get him over, make him face multiple gauntlet matches, a handicap match, come close at the Elimination Chamber. Even though McMahon obviously said Kofi Kingston isn't worthy of becoming WWE a #1 contender for the WWE Championship. Likely said, no disrespect to Kofi, he has longevity, and a lot of guys from longevity haven't become world champion. And it's perfectly fine. It's good to make the storyline trying to build Kofi as like being an interesting guy, and if they are turning him heel, I hope it's good. So obviously, heel turns in the past. Big Cass do not work, and they get immediately released. And Kofi Kingston gave some decent takes that he never whined, he never complained, he showed up every week, and how much stuff he sacrificed. And McMahon was just being like, I appreciate it, but that's not going to make you championship material. You forget that this is a business, it's not a sport, Kofi. Put top guys on the list for a reason. And it's like, do you really want a guy that tosses pancakes around as champion? Tosses cereal. Had to make the super PG image for WWE. And like real life guys really want Kofi to go to WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan. You know how many people don't care? The majority of fans don't care. And they call him a B plus player. And how come Daniel Bryan didn't relate to that? Because back then he used to be called a B plus player. This was an alright promo. You know how much I want Kofi to actually feel like the cards are stacked against him come WrestleMania? But, oh my god, I'm sorry. I just didn't care that much. Just gets a 5 out of 10. I mean, this gets a 4. The promos were alright. I think they were a bit impactful, but I think the feuds that they're trying to force were really forceful. The matches did nothing for me. It did nothing to change the pace of it. Whatever they're going to do might be a heel turn next week. No, it might. It's not going to be, but whatever they're trying to do with Kofi, I hope it's good and I hope it's worth it. I'm not trying to decline this feud because I need some build up. I need some storyline. I need something. Come WrestleMania. Thanks for watching.